Welcome back. Doing the front struts on a 2014 Focus. Putting back the stock suspension. I had some coilovers in there, and they're about 8 years old and seized. So I'll show you one side, and it's verbatim for the other. So enjoy. So I guess a tidbit of information before you jack the car up and get excited. Make sure that you remove these clips at the bottom of the windshield. I believe this is a T27 Torx. You can also use a small flat blade if you don't have those. Not ideal, but you know. I believe this is an 8 or 10 mil, and then this should actually flip up, and you should have access to the top hat screws for the strut. I've seen some people remove the wiper blade. You can, but you don't really need to for this job if you're trying to save time. And then once you remove the tray underneath, I just slid it under there. Then you can reach the 3 bolts. You've got one right here, here, and here, and it is 13 mil for the top.
Afternoons are sweeter than a swisher. Honey kush on my lips, sparking up a whisper. Vibing on my dealer, no realer. Just chilling like a villain till sunset's vanilla. Cheers to my G's at the 40.
So as for the bolts down below, the bolt here that was holding the brake line is an 8 mil bolt. These can just be pulled off the brackets. They're simple. You just got to be careful not to rip the grommet or anything. Same back there, and that gives you a little bit of slack. You can also remove the plug if you don't want to damage anything while pushing the knuckle down to slide it out from, or to slide the strut out. As for these, this is an Allen head that you may need to use because it might spin the ball joint. For me, it is spinning right now. This nut is a 15 mil, and the same thing for the pinch bolt back here. And notice I've also put a bunch of penetrating fluid because you'll probably need it if your car is high mileage like mine. And oh, that is so crusty. Terrible. Okay, so right before recording, I just made sure that I could loosen this off. But let's say you can't. Let's say this doesn't come off. You can do a few things here. So let's get a better camera angle. So here is the little slot in here. Your pinch bolt goes into here, squeezes this. What you'd like to do is split these apart. You can get a special socket. There's a brand called Laser, I believe, that makes one. There's some also other brands where it's essentially a half Allen, half rounded bolt. The flat sides go into here, and you twist it, and it will spread these apart just enough so that the actual knuckle here will slide off the bottom of the strut. If you don't have that, you can use a chisel and work it in there with little hammer taps, and hopefully that will work. Worst or best case scenario, like this, you can simply use your foot and split it out. Now, it's gonna be a lot more effort here to have to bring this down, and enough so that the actual, the strut will actually come out. So be patient with it, and lots of brute force, a little bit of ignorance. Okay, so after about a half-hour struggles, what you'd want to do is use a chisel, or if you have the tool, split the knuckle, because the new strut with some new paint and all that will, as well as if this is rusted out, it'll take up a lot of the clearance you would have otherwise. So spreading this out, using a jack under the control arm, just so that you can actually slide that in. You'll know that it's fully in because it'll be bottomed out there, and that little tang will be in between the slot. So there you go. So just to reiterate, once you've got the knuckle in, tighten this back up. You're gonna want to put your 8mm bolt back into this right here, this bracket for the brake line. And also when you've got it all back together, make sure you kind of go back and forth, steer left and right, make sure nothing's binding or stretching. I'm gonna have to come up with a little bracket here to hold this because my new struts did not come with a little bracket for this end. So I do actually have that bracket. It was on the old coilovers, which you'll see in the next picture here. And you just have to reinstall it before you put the end link back on. It's a separate piece, and you can see it here in this picture here. It bolts on right behind the bolt for the end link. So beware of that. Other than that, also, I guess I should say, when you have this mostly in or all the way in, you can jack up using the ball joint or rip right behind the ball joint. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. And then you can put in your bolts up there and tighten them to spec. I'm not gonna put out specs because they're a little different from car to car. So if this is for your own vehicle and it just so happens to be a Ford make, but not of this year or whatever, look up the specs and you should be good. Other than that, that's one side done. So hope you enjoyed. If you've got some comments or you think I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, let me know. And yeah, thanks guys.